Hey, everybody, it's Bob Phibbs, the retail doc. Thanks for joining me today. I wanted to make sure that you all know that I am thrilled you're here today. It's the first, it's the first time I have tried to stream to Instagram, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go back to where you all are. So, hey, thanks for joining me today. And please let me know in the comments where you're joining from, whether that is in the United States, whether that is in upstate New York, where I am, where we have 7 inches of snow falling, and I guess we have more coming. So let me know. Those of you who are in the Northeast, I hope you went to my Facebook page because I gave you tips on what to do after a blizzard. So that should help. And again, it only works if you are all here. So please let me know where you are joining me from. So there is Nancy. I'm going to answer your. I know no snow today. I'm going to answer your question here today, Joanne and Michael. Glad you're here as well. Hey, I am going to share with you something that I'm putting in my newsletter today. And this is basically how I look at why so many people go off on training. And I thought I would take a moment to unpack it here. Again, if you're in my newsletter, you'll see a full post on this tonight. But a lot of people don't know how to train or coach or teach. So I thought today I would just unpack the difference. Learning is something we do by hearing and seeing, right? So you're in a classroom, someone's explaining something, you're watching a video on YouTube, you are reading a book. All of those things are learning, but nothing is asked of the brain. It's all going in, and you're hoping something sticks. But until you go and train it, which is where you get the body involved, right? So if we're using the learning as somebody is learning how to play baseball, and that is the first part. And then training is to go into the batting cage. And as you can see on the left, the guy missed it. So the coach has to say, oh, you have to hold it like this to connect what we saw on the playbook to what you're doing with the body. Same with a retailer, right? So I've told you how to greet a customer. Now I need you to actually go and let's do it together to make sure you know what you're doing or how to engage a customer or to compare and contrast or follow up. All of those things require the body to be involved. And then you get the chance to coach. And coaching is about observing behavior. So, what a lot of people do is they get upset because they say, I've told them to do something, right? I've told them many times, yeah, well, you're at learning. So what? Until I'm actually in training, nothing is going to stick because the brain has to say, this is important. And it builds synapses back and forth in training that build that muscle. Does that make sense? And so I'm going to stop with that right now. Go back to me. There you go. So the whole idea of how we train people is always 3 parts. And we used to say this in the old days, tell, show, do, review. And that still holds. But so many people, when I look at comments about what their crews don't do, or I've said many times, you haven't mastered what it takes. And so, my program, Sales RX, my online retail sales training program, we have helped people sell literally millions of dollars of retail. This month, we're going to be doing a sprint, which means you sign up for the regular subscription at salesrx.com, and you'll also get 4 bonus weeks of group coaching with me. So I hope you will want to do that. You can reserve your space though for just $1, and I will copy and put that link in here. And then we start on, I think it's the Thursday, the 20, Thursday, January 25th. Yeah, that's right. So I hope you'll do that. And more importantly, I hope you'll look at, instead of saying, oh, Amazon's doing this, or there's a big box this, or I'm not this, January is the month to look at your 4 walls. Are you the best boss? Are you the best merchant? Are you looking forward, or are you still caught up in the holding on and grasping? Because the pie can always grow. Someone carries your merch that you've spent years doing with a vendor. Get over it. Just do the best you can with the people who are coming in your door, and always be holding yourself accountable to looking at the average number of items, the average sale, your turnover rate, etc. So I hope that helps. There you go. Good morning, John. Good morning, Patricia. Glad you're here. Oh, And I will take your questions live, but I have plenty to go today. So there you go. Hey, car gift, I'm glad you're here. Heidi, what? Are you in my head? That's right, Heidi. I'm always there. So Jenny asked me about signboards. Signboards. I use them at my shop to alert people that we are open. It should take more than it shouldn't take a signboard to do that, but okay. Mine needs to be repainted. I'm wondering what you suggest. They say we're in a current 50s vibe, so we say our store name and open. Well, open isn't exactly the best thing to put on a sign. So I always say funny works, simple works, and use Chat GPT. Now, I did not go through and say, make it funny, but I did just start with a chat prompt. And I asked them for 5 ideas for a sandwich store, a home decor store. Make your home a masterpiece. Step inside for a world of comfort. Today's special dream homes delivered. Unlock the secret to a stylish home. Transform your space and your life. Those are really pretty good. And you know what? I would try those out. And I don't usually wouldn't recommend necessarily painting something, but it's probably cheap. I use a Windmaster. You can find them from MDI. You have a full color poster made, and you can change those out at a whim seasonally and other things. So I hope that helps. Nancy, ChatGPT is my new best friend. I must use 8 different AI tools to do my business now, and I'm always shocked at how well they come out. Not always, but there we go. Cynthia says I need to know how best to sell my entire store quickly in 4 weeks. The mall just said you have to relocate, and you don't want to. Uh, you you also are considering retiring. The number one way you do that, Cynthia, and this really isn't my market, you hire a liquidation firm or you just start at 50% off, and don't be attached to what you're going to get out of it because it's going to be pennies on the dollars. Never fun, but maybe it's a new chapter for you. Janet, with the current economic conditions, what's a realistic Wow, you got 3. Okay. With current economic conditions, what's a realistic percentage increase for 2024? I think most people would say 3%. By the way, if you are watching this, before I go any farther, if you're on LinkedIn, give me some applause. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, please go through and like this because the algorithm only shows to those who help get that word out. So I hope that helps. Janet also asked, is it better to go with the luxury higher end market long term? Yes, that's always it. Or turn and burn inexpensive items with high margin. This idea that there are all these things people are out there just buying to dying to buy that are inexpensive with high margins, I think is a misnomer. I think most of that stuff is online, and yeah, you can get margin, but so what? High margin means nothing. Excuse me, low margin means nothing if you're just turning and burning and making yourself feel like you're doing something if it's not contributing. That's why luxury is where it's at, as people like Heidi and Nancy and some of the others of you know. And her third question, what's the best way to get customers back in the store? Haven't been in since 6 months ago. Well, quite simply, Janet, going back to Sales RX, the best way is you have people that people want to go back and see first, and then the merchandise. And I think a lot of retailers hold ourselves up. Oh, we have loyal customers. Do you? You know, if a big chain competitor opened up just down the way, would they choose you them? I think sometimes we kid ourselves, and that's why I encourage you to sign up for Sales RX because we literally have helped people sell millions of dollars of everything around the world using my process, which, yeah, it's going to take you 5 or 6 months to master. It's not a quick, easy and out because behavior trading, just like that example I used with baseball, it takes time to learn how to do it. Just like a lot of you retailers who've been around for 25, 30 years, you're just now getting it, right? You understand how the merchandising and the buying and the display and the training all have to fit together. But if you're still struggling and thinking that it's just an email you send out or an Instagram post, that's just not it. Diane says, selling fixtures. I have so many I don't use anymore that take up valuable real estate. The answer is you throw them out because most are junk and most were provided for you by a vendor. If you have them and you spend a lot of money, you could certainly look at a fixture store. They're getting fewer and far between. But remember, most people want something that they can use just for their store. They don't want to take something that was meant for somebody else and try to shoehorn it into it. And I think that's the story for most of you in your back rooms that I've ever been in. You hold on to those spinner displays, which are like the ones I hate the most. You sometimes see them in card stores, but There's other people do them with toys and all sorts of things. They use up a lot of space, and then you don't use them. You put them in the back. Oh, I might use it again. No, you won't. So just throw it out and move on. All right, there you go. Meg says, "How about some Atlanta gift show game planning? What are your best tips for productive market?" Well, it's funny you asked that. I'm instead of taking your time all to have me uh, go through, I'm going to put that in chat so that you've got that. And that's basically how to do any trade show. The key, I think, is know what you need, know you're open to buy, know what your customer likes, etc., and then go there with a shopping list. I'm about to go to National Retail Federation, which is the entire Javits Center, and it's mostly a technology story. You know that we've got this, and we just came out with this, and oh my God, Metaverse this, and oh my God, Chat GPT customer service, and oh, we can schedule less people on the floor. You know, all that stuff that'll be there. But there are also going to be some cool things. So I hope you'll join me when I'm there next week. I'll be doing some live streams from there, highlighting what is best. But my goal is I know what I want to see and I know what I don't want to see, and that's it. Uh, I apologize. There's someone asked me a question, and I don't even know what language your name is in. So it just says, "Here's a question that's puzzled me for years. I keep asking employees who left without buying, what were they looking for? And employees feel it's micromanaging and they feel uncomfortable. I could ask 15 times a day about sales lost, and yet we successfully do 250 a day. I realize I might be doing my best in training them continuously. I realized I might do my best in training them continuously, and if someone left without buying, I should ignore the situation. Am I right? What should the right way be?" I don't know what the question is. Are you asking me, should you be asking why people left without buying? That never hurts. I mean, but if what are you going to do with that information, right? So if I said, "Hey, John, why did they leave?" "Oh, we didn't have the car they wanted." Okay, are you going to go out and start making a list of cars they should have had if you're a furniture dealer? I mean, is it, is this actionable stuff? Because what I find more importantly is, why were they in there today? What was the item? What was the event in their life that brought them in the store today? Do you know what that is? And do you know what they were looking to do? Was to replace, to add, or inspiration? If they don't, probably you didn't train them with Sales RX, because that's what we train. And then you would know all those answers. But I think if you came over to me every time somebody walked out the door and said, "What do they want?" I think I'd probably just say, "Leave me alone," and I'd probably leave, because frankly, you did not train me. You are now just nagging me. And that's not helpful, especially if they're not working on commission or something else where um, they're invested to really perform. By the way, if you like what I say, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're still around. You're still here after 12 minutes. So that means you must have something that you're interested in. And again, I will look back at your questions if you want to ask them right now while I am live. Uh, Bob asks, where have Bob or Tracy? I'm not quite sure this name is together. Where have all the workers gone? Why is it so hard to hire? I hate questions like this. It's this idea that, oh, things used to be better. Yeah, I used to hire. I remember when I started out, I hired grown men at $2.10. And the reason I could do that is because the economy was in the toilet, and because Wall Street had crashed, and because people needed a job and they would take anything. And you got great workers for nothing. And the reality is that has shifted. Workers now expect to be paid right and treated right, and you better have an opportunity for them, because they could just as easily go to Uber or do something else. So the questions I always ask is, how much are you offering per hour? What's your reward program? And what hours you expect them to work? The days of you must work any and all hours, all weekends, are over. And I think the better workers, my clients are paying $18 to $21 an hour to start. And you know what they don't tell me? It's so hard to find people. They find people who are trainable, who actually want to be there, who see a position for them and are constantly wanting to learn. If you're hiring people at $7.50 or whatever the local is, and you're commiserating and calling up your buddies, "Oh, isn't it suck to be us?" Why are you in business? Because at the end of the day, you have to decide, I'm going to do what it takes to be successful. And if you're going to have to pay your employees, oh my gosh, some places have raised their rates to $22 an hour. If you're going to just continue to bitch about that, "Oh, it's terrible, terrible," well, then maybe it's not for you anymore, and you close, or you raise your rates, or you find other ways to be around. But don't get into this idea that poor you. Those days of being able to hire someone at minimum wage and expect them to work and do well are over. What we do find is that when you do find people who want to be paid right, are trainable and interesting, you know what? They're a pleasure to work with. I'd much rather have that than have somebody who I'm trying to pay minimum wage to and might be stealing stuff out the back because they feel that they deserve it. Especially if you come to work in a nice new Cadillac and I'm trying to beat up Yugo. So let me know what you think about that. Give me some thumbs up. Give me some comments. I need to know you're out there. I know it's early. It's a Sunday, first Sunday morning of the new year. So there you go. Laura asks, we have merchandise on our second floor. We don't get as many people shopping up there. Of course not. When they do go upstairs, they don't buy anything. How do we bring the same vibe up as down? We do have a bar downstairs and a golf simulator upstairs as well. Well, Laura, you've kind of answered it. If people aren't buying up there, why do you have upstairs? I mean, it's that simple. It's not unlike when I go into New York City and you'll see somebody has a tailor shop like on the fifth floor or something, walk up, and they've hired somebody to stand out in front with a arrow, like, we're upstairs, go to us, go to us. Yeah, you can do that, but if it looks like it's work, I don't want to do it. It's interesting when I was working with Menards in the Midwest, and they had a new store prototype where they have a two-story home center, and they actually have escalators that you could put your shopping cart on. Amazing, because they made it easy, right? So I think you first have to ask is, why do you have upstairs? If they don't buy it and you just have stuff up there, not so great. Maybe the bar goes up there. That might be an idea, but I would consider there's something that makes it look like work for me to go upstairs. And if you're telling me that they don't buy anything, then you have to ask, what is that? What do you really get from having that? I hope that helps. Again, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to tell you the stuff that somebody else won't. I'm trying to make you understand that at the end of the day, you're about as successful as you make your mind up to be. You can do whatever you want, right? But you're here on this call listening to me. And if you like what I have to say, give me some to say, let me know. Michael says, make upstairs. Oh, thanks, Michael, for jumping in. Move sale items upstairs. Okay, that's one thing to do. Thanks, Bridget. And we have Michael make upstairs something else, an event center, or rent it out. I love that. I love that. That's great. Kate Tanner, who just sold her business last year, has asked me, love your post on the to list, the New Year cleanup. Actually, you're a little early on that. That's my spring list, but I will give that to you because you've asked. It's always how to get ready for spring instead of thanks, Roberta. Hi, Kate. Nice. So I've reposted that for you. Elizabeth says, everyone in our industry is selling the same gear at similar prices. Any suggestion on how to stand out from the crowd online in our store? So, Elizabeth, that's called retail. That's not you. That's everybody. I don't care if you're in sporting goods, if you're in art supplies, you're in apparel, it's all the same. So I would always go back to, yes, obviously I'm going to say sales are X, because quite simply, the only thing that's going to set you apart is to make people feel they matter, because people who feel they matter buy. And if you have to go to your crew, get off the phone, go over and greet them, all that other stuff, you're not going to make me feel anything except as an employee, I'm wasting my time. So I'll look for something else. And as a customer, they don't value me. I might as well buy online or for a competitor. And you know how long we'll give you? One shot for that. So I hope that helps. Again, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to tell you what other people's won't. So there you go. Nancy, I know your shop is near the end of the block in our quaint downtown shopping district. The shore before us is a liquor store. People are strolling and shopping downtown, often stop and turn around when they get to the liquor store because they can't think there's anything else down at the end of the block. I've done everything I can to dress up your windows. Your windows look amazing. I was there last year, if you remember, and have the more than adequate signage out front. I'd like to attract more attention, but don't want to do it with Mylar balloons because they're expensive. I need inexpensive but playful and classy ideas. Yeah, I don't know that I have that. I don't know that I necessarily have that. I think at the end of the day, whoops, I'm going off to somewhere else I don't want to go. I think at the end of the day, Nancy, you really have to consider, should we move the store, because you do great stuff. And another thing I will share with all of you, I just came out with a shopper magnet, which might be of value to you. Looking forward to how to get more out of your crew, to sell more, and to display better. So that's there. You might consider a blade sign, something that comes out a ways or angles that way. But they now have these balloons, like I think it's Mavis. They're a tire store up here in New York. They're like a stick that looks like they have a balloon, but they're actually, um, I guess they're plastic. Anyway, they're probably available online. That would be one idea, but inexpensive and playful. The biggest challenge is you have such a classy store, and you're set back from the sidewalk a little bit. So your planter out front helps, but we can't see it necessarily unless we're right there. So I won't kid you, it is a challenge. And if you want to try me offline and brainstorm some ideas, maybe we can do that. I hope that helps. Uh, Amy, I didn't quite get that. F F KTX Home asks, any promotion tips for furniture stores? A lot of regular promotions for gift shop or boutiques don't apply due to the high price of our items. I would say promo your services, that you could come to somebody's house and help them redecorate. You could do how to hang a picture right. You could do design services. But at the end of the day, again, I will come back to Sales RX, because furniture stores are notorious for having somebody at a desk somewhere way away who looks up, hey, let me know if you need anything. I'll be over here. And they expect us to walk in with our wallet and say, here, I want to give you $40,000 for a new house. It doesn't work that way. We have to come in and we're going to tell you we're just looking, and you've got to romance us, and you've got to make us feel comfortable enough that we trust you, that you earn the right to sell me something. And if you think that it's just going to be prices and promos, I think it's a hard way. Hope that helps. Uh, yes. Yes, I would agree. I think those little bubble machines are amazing, and they're great in some places, but a lot of lifestyle centers don't like it because they're residual and it could damage cars. So I totally get that. Graham asks, any retail forecasting for 2024? I think, again, consumers are going to go where they feel that somebody gives a damn about their experience. It's that simple. We're under a lot of stress. It's going to be a crazy election year. We're all feeling we're being taken for granted and powerless to make things different. And so I think smart retailers are going to understand that giving us a feeling is what it's going to take. And they're going to be in for the hard work of training their employees. Even though you have, Bitter Bill, who's been with you for 50 years and knows everything about wrenches or whatever it's got to be, or furniture or golf or whatever, you've got to convince that guy he's got to change, or the market changes underneath you and you stand around saying, hey, what happened? Retail had a banner year last year. There's no two ways about it. Economists are pissed. They've been talking about recession for 3 straight years. It's just around the corner. Just wait. And you know what's happened? That all that inflation has allowed people to, instead of work at 7.50 an hour, to work at 15 an hour or more. And those people are contributing and buying more in the economy. The consumer has continued to come through. What's not going to happen is for them to want to come back to you because you put your little buy local sign on, or that bookstore that had the sign, if you see it here, buy it here. Amazon doesn't donate to charities. Like, don't make me feel guilty. Do your damn job. And the hard job is make me feel I matter. That's what's going to be, Graham. So I hope you guys, election year, I'm with you, Michael. Exactly. Diane, am I hurting myself by controlling my labor costs during slower months, January, February, and September, versus coming up with projects, events, promotions, and plans for the year? I think you know the answer to that, Diane. You say, I finally staffed up, but I'm limiting the full-time hours to 34 versus 38 in January and February, and I'm not scheduling our part-timers at all, but they can cover shifts. I failed to mention I haven't cut hours for the full-timers, but I'd like to get them close to 40. I'm reluctant in the slower months. Quite simply, I can tell you, Kate, and all of the folks who've been here doing this for a while, you're going to lose staff. The best expect 40 hours. They can understand it. They can count on it. There's a lot you could be doing, and I think sometimes we save pennies to not be able to get the dollars. And there's always more to do. I only have three more, so I hope you're still with me. We are at 24 minutes, and there's an awful lot of you still engaged. If you haven't heard of me, I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. You can go to retaildoc.com, find out more about me as a motivational speaker. I'm going to be heading to Orlando, working with hockey retailers at the end of this month after I go to NRF and seeing what's new. I also do, obviously, online retail sales training. That's called Sales RX. You can sign up, be part of the sprint, 4 extra weeks of group coaching call with me. I've also got a very popular blog that you might know. If you're on LinkedIn, you're probably one of my 400,000 followers who care what I have to say, because I am a voice in the wilderness for many people that says it's up to you to be better and use your choice muscle and make somebody else's day, and then they'll make yours. It doesn't work the other way around. All right. Rosemary says, how do you go out selling a retail store? Contact a CPA. Make sure you got your numbers. It's quite simple. If it's a hobby and there's no way I'm going to make money, no one's buying a job. That's the most important thing. And if that meets that, then go through. And there are plenty of business brokers out there, but you go to a CPA and they'll tell you either yes or no. And sometimes you may just have to put it out of its misery. Jody says, how about store fixtures again? What is this? What kind of displays trigger more sales? What's trending now? Well, in the shopper magnet, which you can find up there, I talk about what kind of displays trigger sales. So you can download that with registration. But the key we're seeing everywhere is smaller tables that are rounder, and they're all lit from within. They're all at about hip waist and up. And we aren't seeing square tables and those kind of things as before. Hope that helps. Uh, David, thank you for putting the best comment in of the morning. I need to lean into it and suck it up and be helpful. That's exactly what I'm saying. In fact, that could have been the title of this live video that I did, which obviously didn't work for Instagram. So there we go. Too funny. And our last question, and then I'll look at you. If you have a question, you can type it in there real quick. Susan says, 3 years ago, I didn't own a dime on inventory. They got a new website selling online. Is it possible to go back to having my inventory totally paid for? I realize we'll always have bills, but I mean, at what point do I get to buy what I sell again? I'm not really sure what you're asking here. You did capital outlays to do a new business, but why isn't all your inventory paid for? I'm confused. Higher sales can mask low volume, and if that's, excuse me, low margin. If that's what's happening, then you need to look at what your pricing is doing online, because you may be chasing competitors and your numbers just can't support that. I hope that helps. You're welcome, Stacy. All right, so let's see if I'm going to scroll back up, see if anybody has any questions for me. We have a lot of people joining us from the snow belt. I appreciate all of that. That's great. Uh, Weird comments from someone saying they, anyway. Jeremiah says, that's a long one. So the point is to listen and learn. It's easy if someone hands us the way out, but to find the way out through practicing what we learn is another. I understand needing a hand, though. Maybe putting together a business plan to present. Remember, it's all in the packaging. There you go. Nancy says you could donate your old fixtures to Habitat for Humanity resale store. Maybe. Again, I tend to think if there's no use for you, there's no use for anybody else. So there you go. $18 an hour part time, isn't it relative to the area? Um, it can be, but I'm telling you, that's what people who are looking to make a better world are probably going to charge you. So consider upgrading it and see how it works. How's that? There you go, Joanne. All right. I think that's going to do it. I don't see any other questions. So thanks for joining me for 29 minutes this morning. Again, you can share this video afterwards. Tell your friends about it. Follow me on the Retail Doc. But remember, we're about as happy as we make our minds up to be. You have a choice to use your choice muscle and say it's going to be a great day, to unlock the door and say, wow, this is really fun. I'm looking forward to working my crew. I'm going to not only just explain something so that they learn. I'm going to have them go through and do something, and then I'm going to train them back and forth, making sure they do it. And then I'm also going to go through, and then I'll be able to coach them. Understanding that that is a long process. You don't do all three in a day and say, done it, check mark. because at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is to provide a better experience for those who want to give you money. Isn't that the best way to be? I think so. I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Thanks for joining me today.